Welcome back to Halo Halo. I'm Kat Aniva, and you are watching America's top Asian American entertainment and lifestyle show. We continue our coverage of the 29th annual Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. And joining us today is filmmaker Christen Marquez, whose first documentary, Haku Inoa, To Weave a Name, is competing for Best Documentary in the festival. Welcome.
Oh, well, glad to be here.
Now, first tell me what inspired you to do the documentary?
My inspiration for doing the documentary was simply my name. I always had this huge name in between my first and last that, you know, I had absolutely no idea what it was.
Yeah.
So
what is it?
The short version of my name is Hepuakoa, but it's 63 letters long in total.
Oh,
so.
Wow. And why now, or actually it was several years ago, did you decide to do a documentary instead of maybe writing a story about it?
I decided to do a documentary because I think that video is the language that people use today. So that, I think, more than books or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What if the unknown meaning of your name held the key to who you are?
From the Hawaiian perspective, your name defines who you are.
It's a gift to you from your Hawaiian people.
A Haku Inoa, to weave a name.
And it took several years for you to do, right? You were born, tell me a little bit about yourself. You were born in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, I was born in Hawaii in the early 80s, and then I moved to Seattle when I was about 8 years old, and just pretty much lived on the continent since then. And I always felt like I needed to go back and reconnect with my Hawaiian heritage.
Right, because you are part Hawaiian and Filipino?
Yeah, I'm part Native Hawaiian, Filipino, and also Haole too.
Oh, okay. And your mom is Hawaiian, and she lived in Hawaii, but you hadn't seen her for several years, right?
Yeah, I hadn't seen my mother in over 15 years.
Wow, what was that like when did you call her and say, okay, I'm doing this, or just kind of show up and be like, okay, here's the camera, let's do this?
Well, my mom actually doesn't have a phone, so I couldn't call her, okay. But I tried to communicate as much as I could with her. My aunt visits her, so she knew that I was coming. And
yeah, and there's a special way that Hawaiians give you a name, right? Tell me about that.
In Hawaiian tradition, there's actually several different ways that you can get a Hawaiian name. My name is what's known as an Inoa Po, which actually means, Po literally means night, but it means a dream that a name that comes to you in a dream.
Ooh. I read somewhere that your relationship with your mom was kind of estranged before doing the documentary. How is it now after the documentary?
That's actually one of the best things about the documentary is my personal relationship with my mom. I have one now, whereas before I didn't.
She was suffering from schizophrenia, right?
She was diagnosed as a schizophrenic in the 80s, which actually the film eventually kind of calls into question that diagnosis. I do think she was having emotional problems at the time when I was young, but maybe it's possible that the diagnosis of schizophrenic was
wrong.
Yeah, perhaps.
What do you want people to get out of your documentary?
I'd love for people to get out of my documentary the sense that everyone has a place where they come from, and that there's value in reconnecting with that.
Right. And there was a lot of people are very interested in seeing this story and to find out where you got your name and the whole process. And you're talking about maybe starting something online, right? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, as part of a kind of interaction with the people who watch the film and are moved by it, I would love to start something on YouTube where people actually contribute their names and what the stories are behind their names, because everyone, not just Native Hawaiians, have stories behind their names.
We need to share a story, right?
Yeah.
So your film, To Weave a Name, Haku Inoa, did I say that right?
Yeah.
is premiering twice at the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. Tell us when, where can we get information?
It's May 7th and May 11th in Koreatown and Long Beach.
Long Beach, yes. And the information is on your screen. Again, for more information, you can go to toweavaname.com, or you can also go to the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival website, vconline.org/festival. Thank you again. Time for a quick break, but we've got more entertainment news when we return.